Y'all tell me if y'all agree or disagree. Because I just had this discussion with my homeboy and he said I'm tripping. But I feel like a woman cannot sexually crave a man if she's been emotionally neglected by that man. Y'all let me know down in the comments. Y'all agree or disagree with this? Now, when I say this, of course, there are exceptions. Of course, you got prostitutes and all that other stuff. But I'm talking about a good woman now, a good woman who wants something real. A good woman who is ready for a real relationship, a wife material. That woman cannot sexually crave a man if he has emotionally neglected her. I think it's going to put her in a whole different vibration, whole different mental state. He want access to something he hasn't earned. And I'm all for it. Look, hey, I'm one of those guys that's like, hey, as a man, we got our needs, we got our desires. So in a relationship, I tell men anyway, just to align with a woman who's right there where you are with sexual desires, because it does matter. I don't care how much you love somebody. You got to have some satisfaction for your needs. However, if that's what you want so badly as a man, you also got to show up for her needs because her body doesn't lie. You can't ignore this woman all day, then expect her legs to open at night. You can't dismiss her feelings at breakfast, but then expect passion at bedtime. You can't provide zero emotional intimacy, but then demand full physical intimacy. That's just not how a good woman works. That's not how any woman who's ready for a relationship, who ain't been going crazy out there in them streets, is going to work. Her body is going to respond to how you treat her. It's not going to respond to just how you touch her. It's going to respond to how you make her feel emotionally. That's what's going to determine how much she wants you physically. You want sex? You got to start with connection. You want passion? You got to start with presence. You want her body? You got to start with her heart. Because emotional neglect, it doesn't just kill desire. It literally murders it. Like, it buries it. It makes it impossible to resurrect. Lori says, agree, but I still just gave it up. And you know what, Lori? I used to be one of those that would applaud you for saying that. But honestly, I want you to take more. I want you to take more time to rethink how you approach that. Because I also want you to honor you. I want you to honor you. Because over the long term, in the short term, yeah, he get his, right? No argument for the night. But over the long term, you're going to start to resent him. You may even start to resent yourself. And I can appreciate you wanting to put his needs high enough up on the priority list where, hey, you're going to do some stuff you're not all the way covered. But I really want you to rethink that. Explore if there's a way to talk to him and relate to him what it is that you need in order to fully come into the experience. Because I don't want you to develop that relationship with yourself where you're not honoring you. And honestly, if that man truly loves you, even if he's horny, dissatisfied, he could get it somewhere else, whatever else he might say, he's not even going to want you to do that. Any man who truly cares about you is not going to want you to just feel like a piece of meat, to just be doing it and you ain't even into it. Unless that's how you get into it. But that's not what any man who cares about you is just going to be satisfied with. He's not going to be satisfied with it. But again, I'm talking about a good woman with a man that supposedly is supposed to be committed. No good woman is going to just give of her body over and over. And let me tell y'all the irony. Let me tell y'all the irony of that. Because men who want to commit to a woman typically require that that woman has a very high standard on her body. Who gets access, what it takes to get access to her sexually, etc., right? But then she get in a relationship and he don't want to meet said standard. So it's like, let me get this straight. You want that woman to have emotional qualifications for a man to get access to her so that her body count reflects only a few men who are really ready to make that investment. By the time you come along, it ain't like she done been had by every city in America. Now, you can feel how you want to feel about that. It just is what it is. It's how a lot of men think. Okay? You want her to have that standard with other men, that they went through what they needed to go through. They earned her. They committed. It wasn't that many because it was so high of a standard. But then when she gets with you, you want her to have such a low standard. She's cool with your inconsistency. She's cool with your neglect. She's cool with however you choose to talk to her, whatever tone you take. She's cool with you not having no plan for your life. She's cool with you not providing any resources to take weight off her shoulders. You want her to get into a relationship with you and all of a sudden be the woman with zero standards for what it takes to sexually access her. Now you tell me the audacity and where that comes from. And you know, and this is why I say, like, when you get with a marriage-minded man, he understands this. Because when you get with a single-minded man, a temporary man, a broken man, and I talked about all of this in my masterclass, The Language of Marriage-Minded Men. By the way, comment the word marriage if you want access to that masterclass, where I break down the difference between a truly marriage-minded man and all the other types, all the other archetypes. It's 4 other archetypes: the narcissist, the broken man. Just comment the word marriage. I'll send you access to the full breakdown. But when you're dealing with the toxic archetype, when you're dealing with the toxic man, this is the man that wants you to have such a low standard for him. Meanwhile, you kept it high for everybody else, and he'll judge you. If you had the same standard for him that you had for everybody else, you probably would already done had everybody in the city. The toxic man is going to judge you for that, though. But then when you get with him, he's also going to justify him going outside the relationship because you won't give it up. And I always say, like, man, I can understand any man's frustration. Look, I am a man. I'm not one of those men that act like our sexual desires don't matter. I promise you I'm not. I ain't one of those guys that act like, you know, we should just be waiting for months with no answers, no clarity, no effort from you to do nothing better in the bedroom. Men, we like what we like. Our needs are valid, okay? So that's my brothers out there. Y'all think I'm always against us? I'm really not. But a marriage-minded man understands it's a marathon, not a sprint. A marriage-minded man is not so trained by the streets and by porn addiction and by all of these quick fixes to our sexual needs that we cannot weather the ups and downs of a woman, of a real woman. So, ladies, this kind of all subject, but again, I got into this on the masterclass. It's so important to deal with a marriage-minded man because you're going to be speaking a completely different language whenever you tell him, hey, I need you to meet my emotional needs. Hey, I need you to see about me. I need you to check in on me. I need you to notice that things are heavy on me and step in without me having to ask. I need you to pick up around the house a little bit more than what you've been doing. Any of my frustrations, I need you to step in. A marriage-minded man understands this. But see, when you get with a toxic archetype, you get with a little boy, you get with a narcissist, you get with any of those. They're so used to girls that's on call that don't require nothing. They're used to girls that they may even pay for it. Let's keep it all the way real, tricking, prostituting, whatever you want to call it. They're so used to porn that they hold you to that standard whenever you get into a committed relationship with them. And therefore, you're trying to meet a standard that was never set for one woman, one humane woman. And so now it feels like you're running in circles. A marriage-minded man understands. Now, again, do not confuse. I'm not going to sabotage nobody listening to this. Do not confuse when I say marriage-minded man. This dude just don't care. He willing to be horny for 2-3 months and he done did everything you done asked him to do. I'm going to tell you right now as your big brother, that ain't going to go over well. But if you are vocal about what you need and he's ignoring you, if you are vocal about what's wrong with you and he don't express no curiosity, he's not asking questions. If there are things that nobody should have to be taught and he's not even doing those things, I'm talking about general rules of respect and consideration. If he's inconsistent, he done fell off since he got you because he feel like you secure now. You have every right to pull back physically. You do. You do. I don't care what nobody told you. I was just telling a young lady earlier here in this conversation, don't just give it up. Please don't just give it up. I mean, I get maybe 1 or 2 situations where you might be able to get into it at some point. Cool. But if this is a normal thing of you just giving it up, You're enabling this man to continue keeping you emotionally invisible. You're rewarding your emotional invisibility. And so by trying to keep the marital or the relationship strong, you're actually weakening the relationship you have with yourself. Naturally, as a woman, your body responds to emotional safety. And it doesn't feel safe with a man emotionally if he's neglecting you emotionally. Sexual arousal, it requires nervous system relaxation for a woman. And emotional neglect is going to keep a woman in survival mode. Y'all tell me if I'm tripping when I say this. Am I speaking facts, ladies, or am I lying? Am I speaking facts or am I lying? As a man, you can't access her body if her brain is constantly screaming danger around you. So the emotional safety. Somebody asked, why emotional safety? You say this, sexual arousal, she still get wet. Just because she's wet, and I ain't even planning on going all in on this kind of stuff, man. But let's just talk grown for a second. Just because she gets wet don't mean she's actually ready. There's things at the bottom. I'm not even a sexologist. These are just basics that marriage-minded men understand. There are things that also have to go on for this woman's body to be fully ready. We're gonna stay out of the nitty-gritty details, but simply getting wet does not mean that she's ready any more than an erection mean a man is horny. So when you have the emotional safety, that makes a woman feel seen, heard, valued, protected. Her nervous system is calm in your presence. Or at least if it's not calm, it's not because of you. At least it's improved whenever you come around. Her body softens around you. It opens, it responds. Touch with you feels good because she feels good with you. She wants you because with you feels safe. Her desire is natural because her environment is secure. That's what emotional safety provides. But whenever you emotionally neglect her, she feels invisible. She feels ignored. She feels devalued. She feels exposed in her nervous system. It's activated in your presence. Her body tenses. It closes. It resists you. Touch feels invasive because she feels unsafe with you. So she avoids you because being with you feels threatening. Her desire is dead because her environment is hostile. This is why you got to be very, very mindful of the ecosystem on an emotional level, what ecosystem you're creating. If you constantly compare her, criticize her, all of these things, all you're doing is signaling that your exit is imminent. At any point in time, you either gonna leave or cheat. That's nothing that she can relax in. Now, with that being said, my sisters, I'm your big bro, so I'm gonna keep it all the way real with you. You have a job to do when it comes to regulating your central nervous system outside of that man. Because there are times, and I talked about this in the masterclass as well, a marriage-minded man is looking for you to have some level of regulation over your nervous system, so there's a fair fight whenever he comes in. Okay? So just keep that in mind as I'm talking about all of this stuff, because, I'm going to keep it real. I stand 10 toes for y'all, but I got to keep it real with y'all, too. If there's anxiety or there's depression, by all means, get the help that you need, but at least clearly communicate that it's not him. It's something internal. You're just working your way through it, but do your best to have some coping mechanisms that are healthy so that the man that you're dealing with has a fair fight when it comes to creating that emotional safety, because it's a two-person job when you're in a relationship. First and foremost is you. Now, I'm dealing with the part where some man comes in and he intrudes on that safety you already created or that peace. I'm talking about women who are already otherwise good, coming across a man who now makes that not the case, but expects her to open up everything sexually. No. A woman's body has to open. That's why, and I will say this in a little bit of detail, but I'm trying to make my brothers understand without getting too explicit. But there's a reason why a woman may at first feel a lot of discomfort when you guys are in the bedroom. But then as the situation continues on, she starts to feel more comfortable. That's the most PG way I could put it. She may start off, and the reason why is because her simply being open or being wet, that doesn't mean she's ready for the penetration. Now, there's some women y'all didn't even notice about yourself. Her mind, her body, everything has to relax to fully allow for her to come into the experience. Now, it's a lot of dudes who think, well, I'm killing it. No, brother, you are starting prematurely. And that may be okay if y'all got that kind of relationship and you going slow, whatever, but do not make these things a habit, or else you're going to ruin the sexual relationship that y'all have together by first ruining the relationship she has with herself. And again, if that man cares about you, sisters, he's not going to be okay with you just doing it just to do it. He's not going to be comfortable with you doing it just to get it over with if he cares about you. There's a word for men who really don't care about a woman's comfort or discomfort or willingness or desire when it comes to sex. There's a word for that. It rhymes with grapes. Grapey. Kathy Chapman says, open. Yes, your body expands. Your canal, it opens. The muscles, they are either tight and tense or they are open, loose, relaxed. Again, I don't want to go into detail. That's not what this conversation is about. This is much more about the emotional connection prior to, or the emotional ecosystem. If a woman is not wanting to deal with you and she's been trying to tell you what she needs and you just ain't listening, you ain't making no effort, you got to be told every little thing, then her body is going to respond to your emotional absence. You cannot neglect her soul and complain that her body will not answer to you. Arousal requires safety for a woman. So don't provide her threat and be mad when her legs are closed to you. Her body is honest. It's an honest assessment of your emotional vacancy. Get mad at me all you want to. Sisters, am I speaking facts? I don't know everything, but I know a little something about this. Desire is built in the hours that you guys are not touching each other. It's not going to be manufactured in the minutes that you are. So that foreplay, that preparation, that's got to be all day. There's got to be a general environment of gratitude, of appreciation, of attention, of priority, of safety. If she asks you for something, she ain't got to ask 5 times before you take her serious. She ain't got to be 1 foot in, 1 foot out before you finally start making a move. She ain't got to sit there and detail every single thing that she needs you to do. You check in on her. You ask about her day. You listen to her response. You notice whenever she's stressed. You offer support without being asked. You touch her non-sexually. You put your hand on the small of her back. You kiss her on the forehead. You make her laugh. You make her feel seen. By the time the evening comes, she should already be thinking about you because of what you've already deposited in her. Because the desire is built. The desire is already cultivated. Now, the same vice versa is also true. You ignore her text. You give her 1-word responses. You don't care nothing about her day. You don't notice her mood. You only touch her when you want sex. You ignore her completely until you're horny. Then all of a sudden you get attentive, affectionate, interested. She knows it's transactional. She feels the manipulation. And that kills the desire. You cannot emotionally abandon a woman all day, but then expect her to be sexually available all night. That's just not how this works. Her desire doesn't work on your schedule. It works on emotional connection, and you haven't been making deposits, so there is nothing to withdraw. Don't matter how much you try to guilt trip her, how horny you is, a woman supposed to do this, a woman supposed to do that, a wife supposed to do this, a wife supposed to do that. Again, a lot of y'all are expecting your woman to be an extension of that porn that you're addicted to, or them girls that you was chasing, them hoes that you was chasing. And I say hoes, and I say that affectionately because it's a trade. Okay, I'm not sitting there being disrespectful. I'm talking about actual hoes. Yes, they exist. Yes, they exist. Cancel me again if you. I don't care. But y'all be so used to the quote unquote hoes. You get with a queen. You get with a real woman who protected access to her body up until a man was worth being taken seriously. You presented yourself as such, but now you want her to switch into something she never was. A woman just completely disconnected from the way that a man treats her, but still gives him everything on demand no matter what. That's just not how this works. That's just not how this works. You can't ignore for 23 hours and then that 1 hour of attention just erase all the neglect. It's only going to highlight it. All it's going to do is make her like this. Remember, you had this in you all day. You had this touchy-feely kindness about you all day. And you didn't give it to me. You didn't give it into me. Yeah, I see the trolls. I'm fine with that. I said they was going to be mad at this. Share this right now to piss some more people off. I don't care. But y'all, hey, look, I'm bold enough to tell the truth. Like, they can say what they want. They can't whoop me. Look, and I'm helping somebody. If there's a man out there, word to the wise, if the only time you're affectionate with that woman is when you want sex, that woman knows it. She's not a dummy. And transactional affection isn't love, it's manipulation. Manipulation does not turn a good woman on. Every I love you that leads to sex request teaches her your love is conditional on physical access, not on her. Not on her. You touch her with no agenda. That's genuine. You kiss her goodbye and expect nothing. That's genuine affection. You hold her hand watching TV without it having to lead anywhere. You compliment her, not even to get sex. You say, I love you because you actually do, not because you want something. And your affection is freely given. She'll feel loved then. That's the kind of feeling that creates desire. But when it's transactional, you only touch her whenever you want sex. You only compliment her when you're horny. You only say, I love you during initiation. Every bit of affection comes with an unspoken price tag. Her body. You wonder why she stopped saying, oh, shit, I need a refund. I don't care what you're paying. I'm good. I'll refund you. I'm good. Don't stop touching me. I'm tired tonight. I'm not in the mood tonight. She'll start associating your affection with obligation. Your touch, it'll become a demand that she has to manage. She can't relax into your affection because she knows where it's going. So she's going to avoid your touch entirely. Not because she doesn't want affection, but because your affection comes with strings attached. If your affection has an agenda, it's not love. It's contract negotiation. And again, if you wanted a hoe, you should have went and got you one. But you wanted a good woman. You wanted a woman who was ready for something real. You wanted a woman that protected access to her body. Okay, so she's not going to want to be your prostitute who pays with her body for your temporary attention. Give attention, give affection freely and consistently, or watch her desire for you die quickly. It's that simple. And again, I'm well aware there are women out here who carry a lot of stress, trauma, depression, etc. from outside of you. I'm not talking about that because women are complex. A lot of things can affect sexual desire, but I'm talking about those women who are literally telling you, ain't nothing else in my life going wrong. I ain't stressed about nothing else. I ain't anxious about nothing else. I'm literally just not feeling you and how you've been treating me. But you expect that woman to continue opening her legs? There's a problem. There's a problem. You said, have I published this? Where can you buy it? Funny enough, I didn't talk about this specifically. Let me think. Did I talk about the sex part? I don't know if I don't think I talked about this in the masterclass, but the masterclass is free. Because this all goes into the marriage-minded man. There's just a different program marriage-minded men work on. When y'all are dealing with guys who are not marriage-minded, they look good, attractive, sound good, may work out, got a little money, etc. But they're not marriage-minded. They don't leave room for you to need emotional connection. I talked about this briefly. I can't remember. It's been a while. But a lot of men are addicted to porn. I'm not here to judge or shame anybody. But a lot of men are addicted to this thing, and they got y'all trying to fill in those shoes. They got y'all trying to fill in that void left by porn. The thing about porn is you press play, she ready. No emotional connection needed. All you need is a Wi-Fi connection. There's no pain associated with porn on the woman's part. There is no consideration of her facial expression, if she's okay, if she's had a long day, if she's tired, if she's grieving, if she's anxious, if she's depressed, if she's still holding on to something that was said last week. And so a lot of men are conditioned by that addiction and trying to hold a real woman up to that standard, which the standard was never set for one woman. It wasn't even naturally created. It was contrived by people who want to exploit sex. This is probably even worse than the dude who runs through quote unquote hoes. Because at least in real life, you have some of these things to consider. At least in real life, even with a prostitute, you got some of these things to consider. I've never had a prostitute, but I understand how it works. But a lot of dudes, especially in the social media age, especially in the handheld, everything's right there. And so you need to be mindful because I said a marriage-minded man, he's trained his body, he's trained his mind to go about getting his sexual needs met a certain way. There's a certain route he's going to take. It's going to be through emotional connection. It's going to be through safety. But if he ain't marriage-minded or prepared for it or thinking about it or serious about it, he gonna want it 2-3 times a day, and it don't matter how you feel. It don't matter what you think. It don't matter what you going through. It don't matter how he's been treating you. It don't matter how he's been talking to you. It don't matter what you've explained to him a million times. It don't matter. He don't even know the signals in your body whenever you don't really feel that comfortable doing the things that he's trying to do in the bed. He don't even know them. Because he ain't never made himself pay attention. He go straight in thinking if I just make it, if it's wet, if I spit, if I whatever, I can start. Again, it's a little, I'm not trying to get graphic, I'm just keeping it real. A marriage-minded man can simply look for a hug or a kiss or a touch with you and he can tell if something is wrong. Comment the word marriage if you want access to that masterclass where I broke that down. On how to speak the language of marriage-minded men. So you don't have to deal with these other little boys ever again. Comment the word marriage if you want access to that. Free access to my masterclass. Cena Campbell says, my last relationship was like this. I'd cringe every time he walked in the room. I tried to avoid him as much as I could. Then God gave me the opportunity to leave and I took it quick. So glad I did too. I feel free now, so much happier. Yep. And this is me as a man. Look, y'all, I am 100% on the side of men do have physical needs and ain't nothing evil about them. But I'm also on the side of a man has to deposit before he looks to withdraw. He got to deposit before he looks to withdraw. Any real man is not going to want something he ain't earned. And so if you've done your part as a woman to create a fair fight in terms of you've done your part to create that inner peace. You've done your part to manage anxiety, depression, etc. And I'm not saying that if you struggle with that, you just ain't doing your part. I get it. That can be very overwhelming. But you've done your part to try, or at least to communicate to him, but you're doing your part to manage you. You're not using an excuse for a man who's doing all the things you asked him to do, doing all the things he should do, and some things that you ain't asked him to do, and still shutting him out. You ain't doing that. And I say that because I want to be balanced. My goal here is not to tell anybody what they want to hear. My goal here is to get back to the marriage unit being healthy. So many people qualify marriage by how many years it suffered and endured being unhealthy. I want the marital unit to come back to being healthy. Now, Michelle Dell, contact me at info@betterconvos.com. Contact me at info@betterconvos.com. I got you covered. But lastly, man, I'm not going to stay on this too long. Like I said, you cannot, as a man, from my experience, from everything that I've learned, you cannot emotionally neglect a woman and expect her body to sexually crave you. That's just not how it works. Her body keeps score. Every emotional wound is tallied. Every neglect is documented. You can't erase emotional neglect with physical touch because the body remembers. Resentment, it lives in the body. It blocks desire. No matter how much you initiate it, no matter how much you try to initiate it, every time you ignored her, her body recorded it. Every time you dismissed her feelings, her body logged it. Every time you chose others over her, her body documented it. Every time you were emotionally unavailable, her body stored it. Now there's a catalog of neglect. It compounded. And every time you touch her, her body accesses that catalog. So the resentment, it rises and the desire dies. Am I speaking facts? Ladies? And touch ain't gonna fix it. You think a back rub is gonna erase the week that you ignored her? No. You think foreplay physically is gonna override the month of you emotionally abandoning her? No. You think your all of a sudden attention makes her forget your consistent neglect? It doesn't. Her body knows. Knows that you neglected her, knows that you hurt her, knows that you made her feel worthless. You can't touch away what you emotionally evoked because resentment is stored in her body. Every emotional wound becomes a physical barrier. Whether you like it or not, it shouldn't be like that. It is. And it should be like that. Or else there'd be no women to wife. Like, not none that you want, because we don't want a woman that's available to every Tom, Dick, and Harry, in a relationship before. We don't want that, right? We want the woman that has a high qualification standard for getting access to us. And then with commitment, we're supposed to meet that standard. But it's more than just commitment in terms of, okay, now you with me and nobody else. Commitment is every day. Commitment is in your actions. Because again, her body keeps score. You can't touch away what you emotionally caused. That's just not how this works. It never worked for any good woman ever. Never a generation where that worked. You can't neglect her soul but complain that her body won't open for you. You provide threat, her body is going to respond to that. Straight up. That's not her withholding sex, neither. That's not her withholding affection, either. That's her responding to you. You want sex, start with connection. You want passion, start with presence. You want her body, start with her feelings. Simple cause and effect. Now, sisters, if you heard what I just said, any of it, and you believe it to be true, you know any of it to be true, put your money away. This is for free. But I do ask that you pay it forward by hitting the share button down there at the bottom. You see a paper plane or arrow or something like that? Hit the share button so you can bless somebody else with this. I'll say the truth. Let them be mad at me. All I need is some people who are willing to stand by it boldly with me. And once you hit that share button, comment the word shared so I can shout you out and show you some love. I'm your internet big bro. Y'all know I got your back. And again, if you want more on the topic of marriage-minded men and how to speak the language of marriage-minded men, So you never deal with the counterfeit, fake interest having, unprepared little boys again. Comment the word marriage or hit this link right here down in the comments. I pinned it right here. I put the link right here. Go ahead and get access to my newest masterclass, the first one, probably the only one of this year, Language of Marriage-Minded Men. There's no reason you should be chasing any man, overcompensating for any man, forgiving another man for the same mistake he made 5 other times. There are marriage-minded men out here looking for grown women like you. Click the link right here. I'll break it down for you, quick and simple. All right? Nakia Gage, thank you for sharing. Anita, thank you for sharing always, love. Holla at you, lady. Y'all be good.